Hello everyone, and welcome to the Storm Warning Dev stream.
Hello.
My name is Marcus Boom. I'm joined here by the lovely Tom, aka Oxy, and today we are going to be showing you some of the new features coming in the upcoming update. You've already seen the trailer yesterday. Let's get right into it. So shall we begin with not a vehicle, but maybe a feature?
Yeah, a couple of features. Firstly, I can show you a little bit about what we're going to be doing with the profile page. So these are all placeholder stats. There's nothing here at the moment. But by editing, you can change a couple of things that are going to be on the display. So you can do your nukes. You can do the peacemakers, which I don't think I've got any awards for, so they won't show up. But you can change the mode you want to show. These will all have your legacy stats and everything as well, so it all carries over. These are just placeholder. But you can change what you like, and it will show there for everyone who goes on your profile, which is nice. And these will be added periodically. So bit by bit, probably for next update, maybe the one after, depending if it's ready or not. But there will be more and more added over time. Yeah, quite rudimentary at the moment, but we'll be adding more.
I should mention before we head into the vehicles, disclaimer as always, this is a dev stream preview, dev server preview. Everything you see today is going to be work in progress, so don't look too deeply at the stats and the equipment. Things are still evolving over time. Our devs are actively working right now on the update, and not everything may be ready. So just keep that in mind.
Quite literally right now as we're going.
Literally right now. All right, so let's get into the vehicles then, starting off with America.
Yeah. So, happy to show you the M44, which is the first vehicle we're going to have a look at. This vehicle is going to be appearing in quite a few trees. So America, Germany, Britain, Japan, Italy, and France via Belgium. So it's going to be in a lot of trees, which is really nice for a vehicle like this. So basically, high caliber friend, it's nothing too fancy from what you're probably already familiar with. No proxy, it's quite an earlier vehicle at 4.0. But the good thing about vehicles like this, and why I think it's really nice to have this vehicle in so many trees, is that it's a vehicle that's functionally up-tier proof. You can play it basically at any BR before there's like full stabilizers and stuff, and it will basically be able to do the same thing, which is really good because it means, you know, on some maps or some BRs where the vehicles that you have don't work quite as well, a vehicle like this works pretty much exactly the same. It's really nice. Of course, it's incredibly fragile. You don't really have any protection from it. Like a single HE shell is going to knock you out, basically. But unlike a lot of these high caliber vehicles that you're probably familiar with, it's actually very mobile, like deceptively mobile. It's on the Bulldog chassis. So it's quite deceptively maneuverable. You can move it around and like swing it, and it's pretty good. The turret can slew quite quickly as well, so you've got a nice angle too. So it's much more functional and much more usable conventionally when compared to other vehicles, and the elevation is comically fast as well, which is quite fun. But sadly no proxy, so you can't shoot aircraft. Well, you can, but not as effectively. You have a nice collection of friends here for you as well, keep you company.
They look very cozy all together.
They do, yeah. A lot of friends together, it's great. Yeah, so going for multiple nations, it's going to be nice for lineups and that sort of thing. You can use it well beyond its BR, and it's going to perform basically exactly the same. So it's nice. It's going to be a nice one.
We will, of course, show them as we go through the nations, but do enjoy some low-tier derp gunning. All right, on to the next vehicle. This one a few people I know have been looking forward to. This is the RDF/LT. This is essentially, in gameplay terms, going to be a side grade to the HSTVL from the tech tree. This as a premium vehicle, same battle rating currently. Of course, keep in mind that is work in progress. Gun is the same, reload speed is the same, shells are the same. It does, however, fix one of the major issues of the HSTVL, which is the limited ammo count. With a 1.5 second reload, you can actually go through those 26 rounds fairly quickly. Thankfully, the premium version does carry 60 rounds, you can fire basically continuously, which is over double the amount of ammunition, and I have a feeling a certain content creator beginning with S is going to be quite happy about having something that's not going to immediately run out of ammunition.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, the difficult thing with the previous one is that you always had to kind of mitigate how many dart rounds you had with the proxy rounds for aircraft, and it's actually pretty good at knocking out aircraft, at least at close range. And it was always a bit difficult because they were quite powerful, but if you were going to take like 10 of them, you were cutting like half of your anti-tank potential, which is quite bad. But yeah, I think it's going to be nice. I get the impression it's going to be slightly less survivable than the HSTVL. Like the angles are not quite as sharp, especially on the turret. But I think the commander can still fire the main gun if it's like the HSTVL. So once you lose that commander, you have effectively like a crewless turret. So it can still be a bit tricky to knock down in hull down positions, I think. But yeah, the mobility, I believe, is not quite as good.
That is the trade-off. Whilst you do have, of course, the massive advantage of having much more ammunition, the mobility is reduced. You do have a way weaker engine than you do on the HSTVL. You also have less weight, which compensates somewhat for that, but the gearing does mean you have a much lower top speed. Now keep in mind, this is by no means a slow tank. 55 kilometers per hour, which you can reach quite easily actually over rough terrain, is still very good. It's just not quite as good as the HSTVL in comparison. One thing that may be interesting also to you is the gun elevation angles are slightly reduced. You have a 15-degree negative elevation on the new RDF compared to 20 on the 17 on the HSTVL. Not a massive difference, let's be honest. Anything beyond 10 degrees is already pretty good. But it is something to keep in mind if you are going to be on more rough terrain, like the new map that we're going to be showing fairly soon.
Indeed.
But well, it is essentially a good side grade. And if you like the HSTVL, I have a feeling you're going to love this one as well. Okay, I can quickly show the mobility just to show you, and also some new options that we have for our customizations of gunner sights. You may know a few updates ago we did add the ability for you to be able to customize your gunner sights. We have now expanded a little bit with some more options, some more customizing. Let's check mobility real quick. Reverse, 27 kilometers per hour. Decent. Forwards, I'm going to try and stay in rough terrain. I don't think I'm going to quite reach the top speed there, but you can see it is not quite as zippy as the HSTVL, perhaps. That is something that you absolutely do have to keep in mind. Thankfully, reload rate still very good, very fast.
Mobility by no means is bad, it's just not quite as comparable.
It is, again, a side grade. You gain some, you lose some. That is what a side grade is supposed to be. Thermals are still the same Gen 1, nothing really all that special, just great for, well, great. Good for spotting targets if you are in a stationary position, but I wouldn't really want to aim with this. Zoom is quite decent. And let's check out our options then for the sight settings. Let's try, I don't know, M1. All right, you have a few more options here. There is a reload indicator setting, where you can now separately show or hide the gun readiness indicator and the weapon reload countdown, which I know some people have been complaining about. You can change the color of the rangefinder progress bar now. So if we go into the rangefinder, you can now have these two options over here, where you can change the progression color. And most importantly, in the reticle parameters, you can now adjust the thickness of the sight lines, which doesn't seem to be, oh, there we go, need to enable it. You can make it thicker, you can make it a bit thinner, which I believe is going to be helpful for a lot of people, especially playing on lower resolution screens. And you can also adjust the texts of the various elements. So if you go into the rangefinder, for example, we can adjust the font size of the text to better fit your own personal wishes. And of course, you can move all these elements around, which makes for a highly customizable experience, especially in higher tiers where you have very fast velocity shells. It is very useful to be able to have other sights, essentially interfaces than the base one, just so you don't obscure your enemy with the insane amount of zoom that some of these vehicles get. So yeah, indeed. Very good change of life overall. Okay, next up, we are going into Germany, which is eating very well today.
Delicious indeed. Finally, so many people have been waiting for this for a very long time, and it's sort of surreal, sort of seeing it in the game at this stage. But yeah, finally, PZH 2000. Say the full name, Mike. You've got to do it.
This is the Panzerhaubitze 2000. It haubitzes Panzers.
Absolutely right. And it does so very, very well. Despite being obviously very large and very fragile comparatively, armor-wise, you know, you're not going to be surviving too much. Although it's very big, so you may potentially survive some shots that are going in at weird angles. So very big, probably quite weak, but you can potentially survive a little bit. In terms of the firepower, it's still quite familiar. You have the proxy, the standard shell, and the final one, which is
high velocity.
Same, yes, much higher velocity, so much easier to aim, which is always a bit of a problem with a lot of these guns. And even though it has the laser rangefinder, it's going to help a lot with getting those like pinpoint like turret bottom shots and like roof shots at long range, which is pretty nice. I don't know if the reload is currently placeholder or not. I think some of them, the stats are still a bit work in progress. There is also another variant for Hungary, which is premium, with a nice camo net as well. I think functionally it's exactly the same. Right now some of the stats are a bit different. They're still being worked on. But yeah, this one is premium. And this one's in the main tree for Germany, of course. And yeah, fantastic stuff. I mean, it's really nice to finally see it, you know?
Can I just mention, by the way, how absurdly German this vehicle is? You have a vehicle of war intended to destroy targets up to 70 kilometers range or something absurd like that, but you need to have safety lights.
Of course. Absolutely.
Oh, Germany never
changed. So
changed.
Quintessential. Yeah. Really nice. Really happy to see it. It's going to be great. And yeah, there's also the M44, which is folded, I think, with the flak bus. Rank 3.
A German variant as well. There you go. More low to derp guns. Germany has a lot of derp guns now.
They do, yeah. Perfect.
All right, now let's move on to the big ticket item, or well, rather one of two big ticket items. I did ask chat a bit earlier which one they are going to be more excited for, the Eurofighter or the Rafale. Well, Germany, finally you get some good jets. This is the Eurofighter Typhoon, Eurofighter 2000 German variant. I believe there's going to be another variant for Italy as well, if I am not mistaken. But this is one we have currently able to be shown. Oh boy, what to say about it? In short, this is probably going to be one of the, if not the best dogfighting jet in the upcoming updates. It does feature some of the very good engine performance of, well, comparable to the F-15E, which we introduced in the last update, but also with the delta wing design, which means you can actually turn fairly well in low altitude engagements.
Wrong screen.
Oh, wrong screen, sorry. In low altitude engagements. Yeah, this is going to be a fairly interesting one. I can quickly show you the modifications you can currently carry. Keep in mind, of course, this may not be quite final just yet. You have access to the Paveway 4 bomb. This is a hybrid GPS laser guided bomb. You can either use it in GPS guided mode, so like your regular GPS guided bombs like the JDAM, you just point at a target, drop it, bomb will make its way over there by itself. However, you can also use it with a laser pointer, which you can activate separately to correct the trajectory of the bomb and even lock onto and track moving targets. So the best of both worlds. It's not quite fire and forget if you do want to lock onto moving targets. You do have to enable your laser lock and keep it on the target, but it's a good hybrid between those. You also have access to the Brimstone semi-active laser mode, like we did in the Tornado, for the British Tornado in the last update. And in terms of air-to-air weaponry, you have access to the AIM-9L improved. This is functionally very similar to the AIM-9M, so it does have IRCCM. And you also have access to the AIM-120B. And you can actually get out a lot of missiles in total. You can carry up to 8 AIM-120Bs.
It's stacked.
Or if you want to, you can switch this Ultra Pylon here with a double pylon for the AIM-9LI, which allows you to bring a grand total of 10 air-to-air missiles. Plus some ground ordnance as well if you want to have that, which is absolutely insane. We can have a quick look at the flight performance. In fact, we are going to quickly check out the new map that we're going to be showing you as well. Okay, I think I have everything ready. As well as some new features there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hope this all works.
I really like this map, but I feel bad sort of driving over all the columns and stuff.
Do you know at least it's all virtual, you know?
Yeah, I just feel bad.
So this is the Attica map. We have released a dev blog on this already. You can read up on it. It's based on Greece. There's ancient Greek ruins everywhere, a very hilly terrain. Very, very, very beautiful. As you're going to be seeing now. I'm going to bring out my paveways, yep.
So I've not really explored this map yet. You spent a lot of time having a look about, if I remember.
I have, yes. If we have a bit of time, I will be taking out the VT12 just to show you some of the engagement lines. We're trying something a little bit different with this map. It's more of an arena style. It is a fairly comparably small map, but has a nice mix of protected spawns, close range engagements, medium range engagements. We'll get to it in a bit. Anyway, let's check out the performance of the Eurofighter. We have a cockpit to show you as well with some nice MFDs. Overall, very, very nice. We, of course, have a heads-up display as well. We have added some features to the heads-up display. I'm not entirely sure we will be able to show those today, but look out for the patch notes when the update does come. You can quickly check the turning performance. Keep in mind I currently do have a full bomb load, even though absolutely no problem 11G at Mach 1.2. Acceleration is also very good. Now, currently the Eurofighter is able to actually drop bombs beyond Mach 1. I'm not entirely sure if that's intended or not. If it is, that actually will make it a very good long-range bomb dropper, essentially, in ground RB. And there is something that I wanted to try. Firstly, we have a nice quality of life change here.
That's so nice. So happy about this one.
If you ever played CAS in ground RB, you know that it is very hard to be able to pinpoint accurately know where your teammates are spotting things on the map because you only have access to the air map, right? Well, you can now switch between the air map and the ground map. And not only that, you see this little symbol over here, set point of interest? If you're in an aircraft, you can set a point of interest anywhere on the map. This works in ARB as well, by the way. And what this does is enable a little target marker for you, which will lock on with your ordnance camera.
It's really nice.
So whereabouts are you right now, Tom?
I'm sort of by B.
Sort of by B, okay.
Southeastern side.
Southeastern, I will... Actually, just keep on driving to B then.
Okay.
I will drop a marker on there and switch over to my gun cam in a little bit. We can also check out the range on these. The pay waveforms are, of course, not rocket assisted, so do keep that in mind. They are limited range, kinetically, essentially. But the Eurofighter is a very, very powerful plane. So hopefully we shall get some decent range. Okay, let's switch over to gun pod. As you can see, it's locked right onto where I pointed. Beautiful. We do have some decent thermals, very good zoom as well. I do see you there.
Hello.
I need to get within 20 kilometers, otherwise the gun pod doesn't like it.
Understandable.
And what is that vehicle you're actually driving over there? It's a bit funky looking.
Yeah, the HQ-17. It's an improvement on the Tor M1 for China. It's a little bit different in some ways. The missiles are slightly improved, slightly higher velocity, and a slightly higher range as well. But probably the most pivotal thing is the radar. This radar can now track incoming projectiles and ordnance sort of on the way to you.
It may take a while. I did drop them from very far away.
Yes, it takes a while for them to sort of be picked up. They're going to be picked up a little bit closer at certain angles, so we should probably see them arriving at some point soon. But
still on the way.
Keep a squiz on you.
Keep in mind, I do have a laser lock on you, so this will probably kill you.
Okay, thank you for that. As we can see, the top left, little pings coming up for the projectiles. I think as they get a bit closer, we can also lock onto them as well. Oh goodness. So yeah, you can pick them up now, which is pretty nice.
I like this. It's a nice quality of life change, both for CAS aircraft and being able to essentially preemptively lock on to a spawn, for example, an enemy spawn where you know there's likely going to be an SPAA. And if you're like me, who's blind as a bat and doesn't memorize where the spawns are on every single map, previously you had to spot them by yourself. Which, by the time I actually spotted something, I was already within missile range and dead. Now, you can mark the spawns previously and be able to check them immediately with your high zoom gun cam. And also for SPA, it's a nice change that you can now spot incoming projectiles on your radar. So if you see a dot that is coming towards you slowly but surely, you may want to get out of the way.
Indeed. Indeed so. Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly check the top speed at low altitude. As it stands, the Typhoon is indeed fast enough, powerful enough to rip its own wings off in level flight. In fact, taking super cruise, I will try real quick. I'm going to drop a few more bombs and go back to 100%. Yep. Even at 100% throttle, so without afterburner, let's go at level flight. I am maintaining Mach.
Goodness.
This plane can super cruise without afterburner. If you do put an afterburner on, then it goes incredibly fast and eventually you will rip your wings off. I have been able to get past Mach 2 at about 10 kilometers altitude, and beyond that even, ripping my own wings off, even at high altitude. So, something to keep in mind. Of course, keep in mind the flight performance may not be final. I would assume it's not, but we'll see. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have done? We have the Strela for Germany.
Germany, Britain via India and Hungary are getting a Strela anti-air system as well, just as a nicer alternative. An extra option, basically. It's nice to have more options, and they're folded in the case of Britain and Hungary. The Strela for Germany is after the final folder. So this is the M variant. The M2 is the one that the Soviets get. I believe functionally there's not really any difference between them, so they are effectively the same vehicle. So yeah, not too much to say. I mean, you're all familiar with it. It's just now available in different nations. There's another anti-air system option, which is pretty nice. I think we can move on actually to the USSR, and I can briefly show you here the BMD-4M, which is a new premium variant. And so it's, again, like a little bit of a side grade. This variant has some additional armor. So it's enough to be effective against 20mm and 50 caliber weaponry. The turret is unchanged, but the hull is. So you can potentially survive a little bit from these rounds now at the expense of extra weight. So again, you are slightly more protected, but slightly slower, which depends what you like. I mean, it's always good to say, I think that, it's always good to have the fastest setup that you can possibly have, because it's more of like an active advantage rather than a passive advantage, which is the armor. But the thing is, you're always going to be getting hit. Like, you're always going to be taking shots from stuff. So it will save you periodically from incoming shells. Probably not a huge amount, but it will. It will save you more than the standard BMP variant. So
it is only a certain low calibers, however. The standard BMP was susceptible to 50 cal, for example, from the front. The BMD-4M does resist 50 cal fairly effectively, as well as 20mm up to a certain range. So it is going to be more survivable in that regard. And it also has a slightly different engine. If you quickly go at the engine stats here real quick. It does get a slightly more powerful engine, 500 horsepower compared to the 450 on the BMD-4 standard previously. However, the gearing is a bit worse. It doesn't get the full 70 kilometers per hour backwards and reverse speed that you get on the marketplace BMD-4. So it's essentially side grade. You have the optional armor package. Keep in mind, you can actually just remove this and have what is essentially a standard BMD-4. If you want to have some extra protection, do put it on. Okay. All right, let's go on to the plane then, shall we?
Go for it.
Su-33 Squadron vehicle. The first time Squadron players can get their hands on a flanker, essentially, for, well, free. You just need to be in a squadron and unlock this thing slowly with parallel research.
It's one of the nicest looking ones. I really like it.
It is. So this is the naval variant of the essentially Su-27, it's an evolution of that. Some modifications, it does have slightly more powerful engines. However, it is also heavier than the Su-27, given that you need to reinforce the carriage and stuff for carrier operations. The wing areas are slightly higher, which should give you some better low speed maneuverability, but also higher energy loss in turn. So it is a bit of a trade-off in that regard. We can quickly check the armor and loadouts. You do not currently get access to the R-77 active radar homing missile, only the R-27 ER and ET variants, although you can carry quite a lot of them, and the R-73, as well as your standard air-to-ground ordnance options for the Su-27, sadly with no guided munitions as it currently stands. Now, we have something extra special for this as well. If we take it into a test flight real quick. Middle East and Mediterranean we have here, and we have an aircraft carrier spawn.
Goodness gracious, Mike.
We have added the Admiral Kuznetsov aircraft carrier, Russian aircraft carrier, as a special spawn essentially just for this plane. Here we go. Nice little view. Now, the Kuznetsov does distinguish itself quite a lot from American aircraft carriers in that you don't have a steam catapult. The plane has to take off on its own power and gets helped a bit by a ramp at the end. Let's see if we don't crash trying to do this.
It's the dev stream curse. So far, nothing's gone wrong. So
far, yes.
So far.
Yet. Thankfully, it works pretty smoothly. The Su-30's higher wing area does mean you have an easier time taking off at lower velocities. And of course, you still have your very, very good maneuverability in full wheel controls, which is very nice to see. We can check out the cockpit real quick as well. I don't know if there's going to be any major differences here compared to the Su-27. Have a quick look around. Also gets a nice HUD with some other upgrades that I can't show right here, but you will notice in RRB. And in terms of overall flight performance, again, it is heavier than the S-37, but it is also equipped with slightly more powerful engines. It has a higher wing area, so it turns a bit better, but also loses energy much more quickly. It is a trade-off, essentially.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be the best dogfighter, especially top tier, but it is an option for all the Squadron players out there who want to get their hands on a very, very nice looking and very, very fun jet to fly. I mean, come on. You can't do this kind of stuff in any other jet. All right, and that is the Su-30.
Awesome.
What do we have next? We have a battleship.
Yeah, I can briefly show you Arkhangelsk, I think. I was told how to pronounce it earlier, but I've already forgotten. I think that's roughly right. This is a British battleship that was loaned to the Soviets. I think it's a Royal Sovereign class, or Revenge class Royal Sovereign. And if I remember, they didn't really like it because it was mostly in cold areas and it had really bad heating. So they were just cold the whole time, bless them. Yeah, it's a nice ship. It's a nice bit of a provenance as well. Briefly show you some of the mods. Standard stuff, really. There's always too much to really show briefly for ships, so I can just quickly go over some of the bigger armor particulars. It's nice. I really like sort of vessels in, well, not even vessels, just sort of vehicles in other nations' services. I don't know why. I've always just been more drawn to those, like captured stuff or just stuff that was loaned or that kind of thing. So it's nice. It's a nice bit of provenance, and it's a pretty cool ship as well.
I want Chad to quickly notice something on the Arkhangelsk, which is not really noticing anything because it looks like a normal battleship, right? You got some guns in the front, you got some guns in the back, you got your citadel in the middle. There's a popular internet meme around where someone photoshops an image of guns and makes them bullpup, essentially. Screw you, bullpups your M16. The Brits decided, screw you, and let's bullpup your battleship.
Rodney, you plonker.
This is the Rodney, and you may notice it looks very different from all other battleships. All your citadel area is in the back of the ship with all your main guns in the front. Not only that, this also has access to 406, aka 16-inch guns, 9 of them in total. 6 of them can fire directly forwards, 9 if you do a broadside, and they are insanely powerful. Standard HE shell, 67 kilograms of explosive filler, and then an ABCBC with 23 kilograms of explosive filler and almost 700 millimeters of penetration at 1 kilometer distance. Not only that, because of the layout of it, if you go into the analyzer, the ammo racks are sitting very, very, very low below the waterline, so they're going to be quite hard to hit if you don't cause a fire on the ammo elevator that will spread down. And because all the crew is essentially sitting in the back, if you point your ship towards the front, your front towards the enemy, it is going to be quite hard for them to take you down.
Yeah, the angle for getting every gun on target is quite forgiving as well. So you don't even need to be completely flat. Like at a slight kind of frontal angle, you can get all the guns on target, which is pretty nice. Right now it says, I think in the stat card, that it has like 15 crew, which is obviously not correct. But yeah, it's going to be nice. To me, it sort of looks like a toy boat. I don't know if you ever had like little boats when you were small, like for the bath, but it's like in the shape of a toy boat. I really like it. It's cute.
I just like the layout. It's something so different.
Yeah, it's nice.
And well protected. All right. Of course, you also do have a M44 and a Strela for the UK, just to flesh out your gun derping and SPA options a little bit. Okay, shall we move on to Japan with the Thai subtree?
Go for it.
So we did announce this. Also, M44 again. The M44 and the Strela are going to be in a lot of tech trees in this update. We have the Thai subtree. I can quickly show you where it lies on the research tech tree. Starting after the key 83, starting off with the F-84, you got an Alpha jet, you got a later Alpha jet, you got an F-5A, you got a later F-5, F-16, and a Gripen. I can quickly show you how they look with their very, very fancy camouflage, by the way.
Yeah, very nice.
I gotta say, the Thai royalty does have some good taste when it comes to aircraft.
They absolutely do. Absolutely.
Alpha Jet A, Alpha Jet TH. a nice A7. Of course, you get yourself a tech tree variant now of the AV8S. We did release a premium variant in the last update. F5A, F5T, F16, and finally a Gripen. Now, the main point of this edition is to give Japan a lot more options for CAS. They were lacking it a bit before in terms of air-to-ground capabilities in Ground RB. This will fix this handily. We can check out the loadouts. F84 is pretty standard. Keep in mind some of the ordnance options may not be fully finished yet, or some may be removed, some may be added. Keep that in mind. Standard stuff for the first Alpha Jet as well. The Alpha Jet TH does have access to this, the M9P4, which is an all-aspect IR missile. Although interesting, no guided air-to-ground munitions. This may be a hidden air-to-air gem, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. It's a good addition. But yeah, absolutely, as Mike said, it's there to give Japan drastically more options in every respect, which is pretty nice. I'd like to mention as well, currently at least, the R2Y2s are not going to be immediately removed as a result of this edition, but they may be a little bit later. I also believe the F16AJ also will not be removed, as it's different to the new F16 that's being added. There are different BRs or different weapon options. They still offer different things. So I don't believe presently that that's going to be removed.
It's quickly going through all the options in the loadouts. And on E's for the F5A as well as bullpups. And for the improved F5, we do have the Python 3, which is a very, very good missile for a dogfighting jet, as well as access to some Mavericks. As we move on to the F16, pretty standard stuff once again. M120As, Python 3s. You can actually have both if you want to, A9Ms and Python 3s, as well as some guided air-to-ground munitions, including the AGM-65D, which is an IR missile. This one is quite good because it can be used, I believe it can be used in night mode because it's not the TV guidance. It does lock onto the heat signature of the tank, so in night battles it is useful. And then finally your Gripen. No, not Gripen. Gripen? Is it Gripen? I think it does. Yeah, with M9s, M9Ls, as well as the M120B, and some guided bombs, and your, I forgot what they're called. Light bombs, which are a very long range. AGM-65Ds, JDAMs, and the AGM-65H. So yeah, overall, you now get a very good cast option at basically any battle rating past 7.7 for Japan, which should help out their ground forces a lot.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
On to China, shall we?
Yeah, briefly, we already had a look at this. This is the HQ-17. It's an improvement over the Tor. The missiles are slightly improved. Apart from that, the vehicles are very similar visually and functionally, but the missiles are a bit better. Slightly higher velocity and slightly higher range as well compared to the missiles on the Tor. Currently on the stat card, they're the same, but they are functionally different. So not a huge amount. We've already had a look at them. And very nice for China, another option. A bit more advantage in the anti-air zone. And also, it's more of like my kind of Andy edition. The model for the T-26 has been updated. I think this is the 1933 model.
Oh, it does look so goofy.
It does. It's got little eyes. It looks like a mad scientist. It's great. It's a small thing, really. Like basically, the vehicles function in effectively the same way. This one does get the anti-air machine gun though, which is nice. I think it looks much cooler. So it's nice. It's this is the same for the premium version as well. The model is updated. So nice, yeah. Little thing, but it's a nice thing still.
I can quickly show you some of the stuff that's also coming to Italy. We have, of course, another M44, another Strela, and we did show off the Panzerhaubitze 2000 earlier, the premium version with the nice camo net. I should also mention the Eurofighter Typhoon. They're not currently ready, but we are planning to also add them to, let me just quickly double check, the UK and Italy. So both the UK and Italy are going to get themselves a Eurofighter in this update as well. And we have France up next.
Yeah, this is the VBCI new variant, which is to the far left, 9.3 over here. So it's a bit different from the premium version. It's a 25mm gun instead of the 30, so slightly less powerful, but much faster fire rate. It's also not quite as survivable from some positions, as there is a crew member in the turret as opposed to the unmanned turret of the premium variant. But this one, you're still going to have the same level of like artificial survivability with just how like big it is and like full of empty space and that sort of thing. It's a nice option to have for the tree. You're probably familiar with the cannon if you played some of the Italian IFVs. It's pretty nice. Like the fire rate's pretty good. You can do some like fun stuff with it, and it's a nice option to have. It works well beyond its BR. Just sort of be very aggressive and get to some like rat spots, and you can do some really good stuff. So it's a nice addition. It's good to have. It's a good option because France don't really have something quite like this available in the tree currently, so it's good. Yeah, and this is the Belgian M44 as well.
Sorry, didn't you mention the HGM Dazzler on the VBCI?
Yeah, it's the same, I believe, as the Brennus, which will protect against some of the weaker ATGMs. You're probably not going to see too many of them in the much higher BRs, but it will save you against some of the earlier stuff, which is nice. So yeah, the turret's quite small as well. You might be able to survive if you get shot in the corners. There is as well like a lot of empty space, so potentially you'll be able to take a few shots, but still.
Well, one thing is for sure, you're not going to be hiding in that thing.
No, it's a house. Like, it's deceptively large. Like, maybe it doesn't look like it on from like an angle like this, but these are huge vehicles. Which, you know, blessing and a curse. So much more empty space to shells to pass through, but yeah, you're not going to be hiding very much. But still, nice addition. Definitely good to have it.
All right, are you ready for the second big ticket item? Yeah. We did already show the Eurofighter. It is time. Friends, you are finally getting a derp gun. No. You are getting the Rafale CF3. I can imagine chat is going to be going quite wild right now. The Rafale has been very it's
just gorgeous.
Anticipated. And yeah, it is finally here. So let's get over the armament options. We are adding a new weapon type for this. AASM with the 250 kilogram bomb. Let me recall if I remember. So the ASM is a upgrade kit for bombs, essentially trying to fill a role similar to the JDAM and the paveway kits. It turns regular bombs into either unassisted or rocket-assisted glide bombs with different seeker heads, so different lock-on ways. The basic variant, the SBU-38, is a pure GPS bomb, so you can bomb stationary targets and bases, for example, from fairly long ranges. All of these variants that we have in the game right now are rocket assisted, so they will glide a bit further, and they have a very long guidance time as well, so you can really launch them from very far away. Of course, you will want to keep a high altitude to get the maximum range out of them, but it is a very long range weapon. The first upgrade is going to be the SBU-54. This one combines the GPS bomb aspect with a laser pointer as well. So much like the Paveway 4, you can choose to either drop them by themselves and have them act as regular GPS guided bombs, or you can enable a laser lock and have them lock onto moving targets, which is going to be very useful in a ground RB. And finally, the SBU-64 variant is a IR seeker. So this one will fire and forget autonomously. You just need to lock onto a target. It will track and guide itself towards the target by itself. It can also be used as a regular GPS guided bomb. The way it works right now is a bit finicky. So if you don't perfectly lock onto a target initially, it will just act as a GPS guided bomb, and you cannot update the targeting afterwards, not like the laser guided variant. So keep it in mind, you want to lock onto a target correctly if you want to have it track if in case it does move. Apart from that, you also have access to the Mica EM air-to-air active radar homing missile, a total of 6 of them. I can quickly check if there's any other missiles we can put on. It doesn't seem like we have any IR missiles currently available. You can also put on some drop tanks if you want to. Yep, Damocles targeting pod with very high zoom and good thermals. I would assume at some point we're also going to see some IR missiles. Currently it only has access to active radar homing missiles. And I can quickly show off the bombs then, shall I? Let's go with the IR missile. IR variant. So let's go into a test flight and show it off. Western Europe airfield. Let's do it 3 kilometers above the airfield. One thing to note also, the Rafale does have an AESA radar. I don't think it currently works as intended. Hopefully by the update it will. Essentially it's just going to be easier to lock onto various targets with it. Alright, let's find some targets, shall we? So these are rocket assisted bombs. We have the 250 variant only. In real life, there were also kits for, I believe, 125 kilogram bomb, as well as up to 1,000 kilogram bomb. But the 250 is the only one that we have right now. And we can use it as essentially an ATM-65. They're going to be fairly slow, so that's something to keep in mind. They also have a very noticeable trail, so you're not really going to be able to launch them stealthily.
Yeah.
But they will guide themselves autonomously towards the target, and this should also work against moving targets. So if you find one, like that light tank over there. It locked the ground, so like I will need to sacrifice the missile action. There we go. Never mind, we can break the lock by just going away. Let's lock onto that BMP. Move away. This is what I meant with finickiness. I think the first missile launch will just lock towards the ground and act as a GPS guided bomb.
Yeah.
The second one, however, should, assuming it doesn't lose the lock, I may have lost the lock there. It should be able to, Destin Curse. It should be able to hit moving targets. The Rafale is going to be not quite as powerful engine performance-wise as the Eurofighter, so keep in mind your energy. It is still fairly fast. It is very maneuverable. We can quickly do a full G turn here. 14G, not too bad. I want to see what the post-stall maneuver is going to be like as well, so let's quickly just drop our bombs. Boop.
It's a very impressive one. I love the view from the front. Don't know why. It's just
very appealing, yeah.
It's really nice.
Alright. Full controls. Doesn't quite Cobra like the Su-34 does, but is still fairly maneuverable. If you use full rear controls in the dogfight, it should be very, very, very effective. One thing to keep in mind, under the current flight model, it's very easy to flat spin both this and the Eurofighter Typhoon, and you can't recover out with flat spin, so keep that in mind. We can also have a quick look at the cockpit. Nice big screen in the middle. If I recall correctly, there was some meme with this thing running Windows.
Oh yeah.
That would be a nice Easter egg to have. You got a nice map there, some MFDs on the right and left side as well. Interestingly, the joystick is on the right side, not in the middle of the legs.
It's quite a minimalist cockpit, actually.
It is. It looks fairly cramped, however, I have to say.
Yeah, not super cozy.
Got a nice HUD. And as well, various radar modes, including GMTI, which can be used to track moving ground targets. So in ground RB, you can find enemies that are moving.
Good stuff.
And that's the Rafale. All right. Next up, we can quickly show the premium AH-64 for the French. It's a Dutch variant.
That's a nice option.
Nothing special there. Just the Apache for the French. It has currently the same loaded options as the other Apaches. 8 SM-92 Stingers. You got the Hellfire 2s and some ordnance options, as well as some countermeasure pods if you happen to want those. I can quickly also show what the tactical position of the Rafale is. So it will follow after the Mirage 2005F. And that is it for France as it currently stands. All right, Sweden.
Cool, yeah, I can show you the CV90 Mark IV, which is, I think, in rank 8, a final friend. It's a bit nice, it's a bit different. It's a lot heavier than the standard 9040. It's nearly 10 tons heavier, but much more powerful engine. And in practice, it is a bit more responsive despite the extra weight. So it's still pretty nice. This variant has a different cannon, so it's not going to run out of ammo as quickly. Fire rate's not quite as quick. It's not quite as powerful as the 40, but it's still pretty nice. You have the spikes as well, and one of the commander optic pods on the roof as well. So it's nice option. It's good to have the spikes there as well. It's a bit different. Has some different composite armor protection. Side Pro also on the front, which is ironically named in that particular sense. But yeah, nice option. A little bit different. It's still familiar enough, though, to jump right into when you unlock it. But nice option to have, I think, for the higher tier lineups. Should be good. And we've got another quite similar option as well for Israel.
Yeah, another IFV, although in a completely different size class. This thing is massive.
It's another house.
Yes, Israel will get the Namer Trikon. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. So, You might notice why two Namares? We already had a Namare. It's got the same gun, it's also got spikes. Okay, the turret is a bit different, but what's the point of that? Well, this one does get active protection. The trophy system, not quite as powerful as the one found on the Challenger Black Knight, which can actually intercept APFS shells. This one is very unlikely to be able to do that. However, if I quickly take it into a test drive, you do have a good amount of charges and very good coverage. 360-degree protection around the tank with 3 charges on each side. Which means you're going to be basically immune to ATGMs, most ATGMs. Hopefully also to some air-to-ground ordnance. The turret also has some slightly different gun handling stats. The gun itself is the same, ammunition is the same. You do get access to the spike missile with a total of 4 of them. You got some good smoke coverage as well. Fire rate is fairly standard. And you have some very, very crisp thermals.
Good stuff.
Mobility is going to be the same. It is a massive, massive vehicle. However, of course, it is based on the Mark of a chassis, so hopefully there will be some good survivability in that regard. And lots of empty space below the turret. And of course, the turret is also unmanned, so if you keep this behind a hill, it may be fairly effective.
Yep. Not bad at all.
Alright, active protection, Namare. Now, we have a little bit of time left. I would suggest we go back onto the map.
Sure.
And show you some of the details more from the ground. I will bring out my VT12 for this because it's a bit faster.
Alrighty.
Create a session. Alright. All good. I can also invite you if you want to take along. There you go. Actually, could you bring a helicopter maybe? Give a bit of a aerial view. Or the scout drone could also work. I think the VBCI has a scout drone.
Yeah, go on then. I'll use that.
That should work just fine.
Cool.
Alright, let's begin. This is just going to be a very quick overview of the lanes that you can expect. It is essentially an arena map, fairly small. 3 main lanes towards the objectives. The areas around the spawns are fairly well protected with cliffs and rocks and short sidelines. So you should be able to make it out of the spawn relatively easily. But the areas towards the middle in between the caps, if you want to travel between those are going to be more open. You have 2 choices of spawns here. On the right side spawn, they're going to be symmetrical on both sides. It's going to be the most protected. You can basically make your way over to the sea cap without any major sidelines. If you want to have a bit more of long-range sniping and hull down action behind hills, spawn on the left. Let's have a look now. I love the way this map looks.
It's going to be interesting. Like ever since playing like Odyssey for like an embarrassingly long time, I've always liked the just geography. So it's really nice to be able to play it, and there's something like more realistic about like just the terrain and the layout of the newer maps. I think it looks really nice. And yeah, it's going to be a nice one. I think at the moment it's available for, or rather will be, I think currently at least, available for every BR bracket, so low tier and high tier. Maybe that'll change, I'm not sure, but it should be.
Around here is where you can expect your first engagement at the start of the match. The enemy will be coming out of that hole over there. You can make your way... Oh, there we go, actually. Ah! You can use some cover here. If you drop a smoke shell, you can make your way onto this bit of cover fairly easily. With the tall tank, you can go hull down over here. Sadly, the VT12 is not quite tall enough for that.
Can you drive up it? I've not tried that.
Not quite. This terrain is fairly tough. I can just about make it not quite, because I have a lot of engine power. The capture point C is right inside this theater area. You can go all the way around as well, so...
I tried.
Tom's POV.
I tried to go up it. I can't quite get there.
Not quite, not quite.
Sad.
You can make your way around the area here to essentially intercept anyone of the enemies trying to make their way towards the sea cap. You have a bit of an outlet here which you can use as cover to side scrape behind. That is where the road from the enemy spawn comes out. As you can see over here on the map. And the cap itself, you have some destructible objects here. This is solid, so you can use this as some cover. You are not immediately going to be exposed, especially if you go up here, for example. From here, you are basically going to be hidden from the main road from the enemy spawn, but you do have to watch out for people flanking around through the middle area. let's make our way towards the B cap. Some very nice cypress trees. At this sunset time, it's just so
really
beautiful.
nice. Yeah.
Oh, I would like to ask you something. Can you grab a drone and fly up to the ruins over there on the hill?
I don't think I've got it available yet.
Oh, okay. You don't have it unlocked. Okay. We can check it out in a bit, maybe with a helicopter.
Sure.
All right. I'll wait towards the B cap. Here you start seeing some more open fields. You need to be careful. At this point, people are going to be spread out around the map a little bit more, and there's plenty of ambush opportunities for them. So you need to be very, very careful as you move along these fields. There are some cover options. Later on, there's also some defilades you can use to move around a bit more unseen. But as we approach the B cap, this one is probably going to be one of the hardest to take just because it is fairly open.
I just feel bad knocking down all the fellas.
Look at this man committing crimes against humanity.
I just feel bad about it.
There's lots of destructibility on this map. Not everything can be destroyed, but a lot of it can. If you drive over the pylons, if you shoot the columns over here, everything crumbles down nicely. Work in progress, keep that in mind. You're going to see some floating rods right now.
Oh, some Minecraft cubes.
Yes.
Excellent.
You do have some solid cover around here. Keep in mind, aircraft are going to have a very easy time spotting you over here. Alright, let's make our way over to the A cap, the final point. I love these little ruins all over the place.
It's really cool. I just feel like I shouldn't be fighting around them, you know?
I mean, that's... I do.
Yeah.
I just want to destroy stuff.
Like, it's the sort of... Yeah, like the lizard brain in me wants to just break stuff. The other side wants to just sort of look at cool architecture and not touch it. So I'm sort of in between.
Here you have a bit of a defilade, which should give you some cover from people sniping from the hillsides over there. And you can make your way into the cap over from here, or you can flank around if you want to. So I'm just currently showing it off. The cap itself is both fairly open and also visually protected. There is something that we need to keep in mind here. So these walls over here from this side are solid, so you can't immediately get sniped from this side. However, those sides where Tom is driving around right now, those are all destructible. So if you drive into one of them, you can drive straight through that. Crunch. They give you some visual cover initially, but they can be shot through, they can be driven through, so don't rely too much on this. I also am having some issues right now. Work in progress, dev server stuff. This is probably going to be a nice map for hide and seek, if you want to do some custom battle stuff.
Yeah.
From this side you're fairly well protected, from this side as well. So you only have really two directions where the enemy can be coming from, which makes it fairly defensible. Probably, I would say, the most defensible capture position apart from C, although C is basically open towards one entire half of the map. And then finally, of course, these are the main free lands that you can take from the spawns. However, if you want to be sneaky, you can also flank around the outskirts a little bit. I believe you should be able to make our way around this rock over here, which should actually provide a very defensible position from here.
Yeah, there's a lot of options, deceptively a lot of options.
For example, from here you can basically intercept anyone coming from the red spawn trying to make their way over to the A cap, which is going to be I think a point of frustration for a lot of people not expecting someone to be guarding that area. Although at the same time you can't easily make your way up there. If you have a fast enough vehicle, maybe through here. Don't fall down there because it will be a death sentence. That is out of bounds. Little lighthouse over there. But essentially the way this is set up is that you can defend from here, but you can't easily make your way up here unless you have a very fast vehicle. However, the enemy can easily come from this side and flank you. So it's not a infinite power position.
No.
This could be interesting also. If you have a tall vehicle, something with ATGMs, you can overlook and cover this entire ridge side. And some of the vehicles coming from there, but you can't exactly look at the A cap itself. So from here you can defend a capture point that you have already taken, but you cannot effectively take down any defenders inside of there.
Indeed.
A bit of a tactical play there. Have a bit of a look-see around. I will maybe... Do I have something with a... I don't think I have anything with a drone either. Oh, here's quite easy to get stuck. Gotta keep that in mind. I will quickly bring a helicopter. In the meantime, Tom can roll around a little bit more.
Go for it.
Show some of the architecture.
Yeah. I just like looking at stuff. I'm quite simple like that. Always in like older games, if they're multiplayer, I would just go into custom lobbies and just drive around and look at the stuff that was there. I've always liked that. There's something just, I don't know, comfy about it. And looking at all the places you never, like you're too busy to look at because you're shooting people. So, I've always enjoyed that.
Well, it can be a bit of an issue if you like doing the kind of stuff and when it comes to actual battle you get distracted.
Yeah, I mean, can't make the map too pretty. But it's very nice. Very, very nice.
Alright, let's have a quick look at the air POV. Of course, for helicopters, this also works, the map options. So if you want to know roughly where to aim your stuff, you can do so fairly easily from the map itself. We do need to hurry up a bit. We will be having another stream from our Russian colleagues after the stream. It will begin in about 4 minutes. There they will go into a bit more detail with technical stuff, show some of the things that we haven't shown in this stream. I highly recommend checking that out. Of course, if you don't speak Russian, no problem. There's a content creator in our partner program called Jean-Claude Van Schott. We will be linking to his channel on Twitch at the end of the stream, who will do live translations of the stream to English, so you don't miss out on anything. This little area over here, this is very nice.
They save the Acropolis with a Parthenon.
Ruins. You can land your helicopter in there, but you're going to get shot if you do that. For custom battles, should be fairly nice. I just really love the way this looks.
It's really nice, yeah. Absolutely.
You can use this theater area as cover for your helicopter if you are feeling like doing some close range action. Here's the thing, alright? Even though it's very well protected from a ground perspective because you have these low hills everywhere that cover your approach and give you hard physical cover. At the same time, for aircraft, it's not going to be too hard to engage people here because it's not too high. There are some spots where you're going to be fairly hidden, like for example behind this cliffside over there. If you make your way into A, you can hug the wall over there to get a bit more cover. But it gives a fairly varied gameplay style, I think.
Yeah, lots of different areas, like different sight lines, different elevations. You've got lots of different options, whatever you like.
Alright. I am really interested to see how this map will perform once it comes into the game. Of course, on a dev server with just the two of us, we can't really see how the map will flow in the end when players get their hands on it. But I think it's a good mix. Yeah. You got close range engagements, protected spawns, covered lines towards the objectives, as well as open fields, defensible positions, flanking opportunities, lots and lots of variety.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that is going to be it for us today. There are a few bits we didn't show, but we don't have time right now. So check out the stream from our colleagues, which will start soon. For the YouTube people, this stream will be available as a video after it ends. So if you missed anything, don't worry. You can rewatch it at your own pace. Check out all the new stuff. For the Twitch people, it will also be available as a VOD for the next 2 weeks. So you can check it out on there. And yeah, keep an eye out for a dev server. I don't believe today.
Soon, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Sometime soon. I don't think today. We're not entirely sure, but there will be a dev server opening for you before the update itself drops, so you can get your hands and play with the Rafale, with the Eurofighter, with the derp guns, with the Panzerhaubitze 2000, with everything.
Indeed.
Okay. Thank you very much for watching this stream. This has been the Warframe official channel. We will be back with you with some more streams later in this week. Not dev streams, but regular Warframe playing streams.
Indeed.
We hope you have enjoyed this stuff. And yeah, let us know in the chat what you think about the Eurofighter, the Rafale, all that good stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
See you later. Cheers.